Okay, I've had a few questions about battery testing for Electrathon, and in this video I figured I'd just do a quick walkthrough of how I do it. There's probably other ways, maybe even arguably better ways to do it, but this is how I've been doing it for the last few years, and it's worked fine for me. Here you see the battery to be tested. It's one of my first batteries from probably 5 years ago, so I doubt it's any good, but that's fine for the purposes of this test. What you can see here is the battery is hooked to a shunt. Well, first the fuse, and then there's a shunt for this meter. And from there it goes to this inverter. Follow the cord up. I have a bank of 3 bulbs. So hook the thing up, flip the switch. Bulbs come on. Shows us what we're drawing. We're currently drawing almost 24 amps, which is fine. And now you just wait and see how long it'll run before the low voltage alarm goes off on the inverter. This inverter sets off that alarm at 10.5 volts. You can see we're not far from that now. As I said, this battery wasn't much good. And honestly, I can't even tell you the last time I charged it. I just have yet to throw it out. So it's going to work fine for the purposes of this test. A good battery for Electrathon, if you're going to run a 36 volt system, you should be able to pull 24 amps out of that battery for about an hour anyway. That's what you're shooting for, somewhere right around there. But this one, I think we'll be hearing that alarm pretty soon. But either way, that's all there is to it. If you want to put more or less load on it, change the number of bulbs, change the type of bulbs. These are incandescent because they draw more than LED. If I turn this one off, let's see. Yep, there you go. So that one was responsible for about 5 amps right there all by itself. Yep, there you go. So it's back on. And you can mix and match the size of bulbs you have to get the exact draw you want. If you're testing a 24 volt system, one battery at a time, you'll probably be looking to pull a different voltage out of that. I'm sorry, different amperage. You'll be looking to pull more amps out of that than you will in this case. But this meter is nice. It also displays watt hours here and the overall power you're drawing now, which of course is merely these two numbers multiplied by each other. But that's it. I guess I won't bother to wait until the low voltage alarm goes off, but normally when you start this, you set a timer or you take a look at the clock. So when it shuts off, of course, you have the watt hours you can look at totally accumulated. If you don't have this particular type of meter, you can go just by straight time. So when you flip the switch on, make note of the time. When the low voltage alarm goes off, make note of the time. Write it down. And these are the times from some old battery testing I had done, where I show when the start time was, when the end time was, what the temperature of the battery was, and the watt hours I pulled out of it. So charts are helpful for that sort of thing. From this information, you would want to take and match up your batteries by capacity, because a pack is only as good as its weakest battery. One bad battery and 2 good ones, the one bad one will drag the other 2 down. You have a bad pack. It's not as strong as the strongest one. It's only as strong as the weakest one. So I test all my batteries, and then I pair them up, my 3 best and then my 3 not as best. If they're bad enough, I will just straight up replace them. But yeah, that's what you're looking at there. So again, battery, fuse to be safe, meter with a shunt that's located right there in this case. I just put it on the underside of the shelf, keep it up out of the way, to the inverter and up. Now, you can go without the inverter if you wanted to. You could do all 12 volt loads, but frankly, 120 volt loads are a lot easier to deal with, and the low voltage alarm on the inverter makes it easy so you can go do something else in the meantime and just listen for it. So I can be working in the shop doing something else. When the alarm goes off, I make note of the time, come over here, shut it off, swap the batteries out, test a different one, put the one that had just been tested back on the charger or something. But yeah, there you go. That's my test setup.